this, is this really is time consuming to get this really accurate, but in the end it's really worth it. As we're going to find out the next time we take a test ride on the bike. I'm going to find the point at which we're right at top dead center, and there it is, right there. So now I can take that outer dial and make that 0. That is now right there. So today we have to deal with, and we wait for this on a regular basis. Sometimes it comes more often than you want. Sometimes it never comes. We're waiting for truly a rainy day. Now, a rainy day, a lot of people think, oh, I can't ride my bike. I can't do this, I can't, whatever. I look forward to a rainy day because I always have over on the corner of my little workbench, I have a little paper list of things I want to do on a rainy day. Now, I have been saving these, and I've got at least 10 things on there now. Because and this is an important, I think a really important concept. The time you all have, no matter who you are or what your station in life or your age or your money or whatever, you have, time is limited. And how you use it usually determines the quality of your life. Now I try to, because I worked with always having a lot of things to do in my life, to try to be very efficient about it. And that means in our part of the country, I have a small collection of bikes. I only get to ride a certain amount of days. So on the days that the weather cooperates and that I don't have obligations to the family or the garden or whatever, I try to ride. Riding is always priority one. Just like the sailors have their list of priorities, and you never stand up when you can sit down, you never sit down when you can lay down, you never stay awake when you can sleep. Well, you never ride on a day, yeah, I think you get the picture. I'm trying to explain it in simple terms. Because it's something, the reason I'm sharing it is, it's something that has really made my life probably a lot better than it would have been, should have been, could have been, if I had squandered away this stuff. And an example is if we have a beautiful sunny day and I decide, oh, today's the day I'll change tires. And then the tires are on the bike, oh, it's raining. Well, that's what I'm trying to get across. It's a very important thing. And people that follow my channel know I do this in a way. I try to be religious about it, in fact, of never wasting my riding time, which is limited. And then on rainy days, I have my list, so I want to go right to the top of the list and see what is it that I want to do on a rainy day. Now, if I had tires to change, that'd be fine. On the top of that list is I wanted to check the timing on the RD with the dial indicator. Luciano brought the dial indicator over. It's a relatively simple job, and I want to check the timing marks. Now we've had, and I'm not trying to go over this over and over again, but when the RD had the issue that it had, it was missing, it was running rough. Luciano noticed it's running rough. Yeah, the plugs made it a little bit better. The new points, a little bit better. Everything makes it, we did the rough timing with the timing, a little better. But it's still not on the razor edge where I want it. Now, it could be that I may have to do some jetting or something to deal with this very hot temperature. But remember, I want it on the razor edge, and the timing light, the dial indicator gets it perfect. I can get it at 1.8 before top dead center, and it'll be perfect. So that's the goal to do today. That's one goal. But I also have things on that list. I have 7, 8 other things. So if I get that done first, I have other little things I can use the rest of the time on. So it's a time management thing. I try to do it to the best of my ability, and most of all, I try to share what I've learned over 70, or going to be 75 years within a month. 75 years of stumbling my toe and putting Band-Aids on it. Now in the spring we did a lot of polishing on this, a lot of cleanup, and to be honest, we did a lot of riding. This bike, every time I think, yeah, I should be riding this bike more, I look and I've got, in the time I've owned it, I've got a little over 10,000 miles. And when it's running right, and I mean right, it is right on the razor edge, and the minute it falls off just a little bit, I get pretty frustrated. I've got way over 1,000 now on this. In fact, it's probably 1,100 on this since the restoration, and I think this has been the most satisfying restoration of all, because it's a bike that I was very comfortable riding before, and nothing I did changed that. And the next project, certainly within a week or two, we're going to look at the possibility of doing some evil twin work on the FZR. And that restoration is now 2 years old, and it's time for a little evil twin stuff. Got the brand new tire on this, rode it the other day, scuffed in the tire. It took the handling from being pretty wonky to perfect. We're ready to go back to track days anytime Luciano wants to. And it's a long story that I'll share with the R1 in a very, very near episode. I tried to get, I did not order it yet because I still haven't decided if I want to do it. I want to get the adjustable side stand that Luciano has. I'll explain why when we actually get to do that job, but that would be a nice little upgrade to have on the R1. If I can get that done in the next rainy day, it'll be somewhere on that priority list. So for somebody that might be new to the channel and they think, oh, this guy's blabbing on and on and on, I'm really not blabbing on and on. I'm trying to share things that have worked for me in my little experience with motorcycling, and that experience goes over a lot of years. So anyway, one of the things I do enjoy, just to clarify it, I have this very small collection of bikes that's each one is 10 years apart, and so it goes over the history of my history and my involvement with motorcycling, and I enjoy upgrading them. And some of the upgrades that are extensive I call evil twinning them. But I don't enjoy buying new bikes that I've never ridden before and then taking a chance that the transmission or the clutch or something's bad. I like upgrading the ones I already have. And the biggest thing I've learned in life so far is I've learned how to be happy with the stuff I already have. And of course for us, every day starts out with our farming obligations. Feeding the fish, feeding the birds, taking care of all the little stuff that has to be done, and harvesting some vegetables out of our vegetable garden. And every part of Karen's garden this year has just turned out so well. We've got tomatoes, peppers, everything, every day. Lettuce, unlimited lettuce. I see they're doing another Treezilla right down the block from us. Treezilla. It's so important to keep the farming chores up to date. The farm must go on. The birds must be fed. These are every farmer has his own chores. Look at these birds. Well, we enjoy seeing these guys over breakfast every day. And fresh cut flowers on the table every day. I just think that's pretty cool. And this will be all eaten up tonight for supper, right from the garden, fresh from Karen's garden. So before I head out and start that job with the RG, I wanted to share this. These are my microfibers, and I'll let that go without saying. What I do, I've shared this information before, but it is significant. I only wash microfibers with other microfibers. I put the normal amount of detergent in, and I put the same amount of simple green in. Do a laundry, do a normal wash. Sometimes they come pretty clean. If they don't, I'll just do the same thing again twice. Put them in the dryer and all by themselves, and it'll be like having brand new microfibers then for another couple of months. So the prediction of rain all day, on and off rain. This will be a good day to get some work done in the shop. Listen to this chainsaw, they're really doing a lot of work over there. So step one is to play what I always call the parking lot attendant here. Get the bike in position and get the side cover off. And luckily with the center stand makes this a little bit more convenient. Well, after doing all this work this summer on this bike and trying to get it, like I said, back on the razor edge, what I decided is, I think, and Luciano did some research for me, and Ray confirmed what I said. He's got electronic ignition on his bike, he loves it. Luciano had it on both of his RDs, and I think for sure over the winter time that's not going to be, as I said, it's not a summer project, because what will happen is I don't want to lose the summer riding time to do this. But in the winter, I'll have plenty of time. And of course, it's probably a one-day job, maybe a two-day job. And because Luciano's already done it already, I'm sure we'll have good success. But the first step on this whole thing, and it's kind of an easy thing, I'm going to double check that I have the points are both at 14 thousandths. That's step one. Then we've got to pull a plug, put the dial indicator in place, and check. There's a little adjuster that you can move back and forth, because the purpose of doing it with the dial indicator is I want to get this exactly within a pencil line of being exactly what they want. They want it at 1.8 before top dead center, and this marker can move back and forth. I'm assuming it's set at the factory, and we've been using that as our timing light, but the dial indicator will give us an exact reference, and I mean it'll be exact. Boy, they're really going wild with Treezilla over there. So we have two of these, one for long, that's the short one. We have one for the long spark plugs, and that's this end. This end will have to get put on there, and we'll have to, of course, zero it out. I'll try to describe what I can to make this make sense. But of course, the first thing you need is a good quality dial indicator to do this. I'm not even sure Harbor Freight sells dial indicators. Maybe they do, but I don't have one. And thank you, Luciano, for the loan of this. This will make this a little bit easier and a lot more accurate. I don't know if you can hear those chainsaws running. That's crazy. Anyway, the first step is to get this, and this is an adjustable part because every engine would be different. So you want to set this permanently in place. It slides on there, of course. There's a little set screw, which, by the way, is missing, Luciano. I'll look for it in the bag. And then this part would go on once that's in the spark plug hole. And of course, you want to make sure this is on tight, so this doesn't wind up falling into the engine. So getting the dial indicator assembled, step one. So now you get the idea with the part assembled, and I could not find the set screw, but this gets it plenty tight. You can see by moving the plunger, the piston comes up where my thumb is, and as it comes up, it'll find a spot where the dial indicator will be at top, then it'll go down. It'll go back, it'll go forward, and we'll zero in. Once we find that spot, then you can turn the dial, so top dead center is 0. So of course, first thing is to get the good old-fashioned spark plug out, and the dial indicator threads into the spark plug hole. I'm going to try to show this, but it's not going to work. It's not going to be exactly, because I don't have a really good macro lens. Now the dial indicator, if it's too far down, the piston can't come up all the way to dead center, and that's why you have that adjustment on the stalk, I guess is the right word. So you've got to find a point at which the piston comes up, the gauge goes around, and then it goes backwards and back, and that is a very fine adjustment. Because if you can't find that point where it's right at top dead center, then the rest of it's not going to work out. That's job one. Get it so that dial indicator goes back, forth. If it's too far down, the piston can't come up, and you can actually hurt the dial indicator. So you've got to really play with this and get this right at the right height. Now this may be a little tricky, because what I'm trying to establish here is I'm coming up on top dead center. I got to get it backed out. I want to find the point at which we're right at top dead center, and there it is, right there. So now I can take that outer dial and make that 0. That is now right there. Right there is top dead center. Now we get the dial indicator set. That is now 0. Now what I did, I just verified this model is not 1.8, it's 2.3. So, or 90 thousandths. So I did the dial indicator. Okay, and there's the dial indicator at it's 90 thousandths before top dead center. And I can see the timing mark is not really right on the money. It's not exactly on the money. So I've got to obviously reset the points, or reset the timing, I should say, so that I'm right at top dead center. So my timing marks, to make them really accurate, I need to move this plate over just, oh my God, just a little bit.
probably a few thousandths, but then I want the timing mark on the I guess the flywheel would be the right word, and the timing mark that's on this little adjustable plate to be in good alignment, and it's not exactly in the middle. It's a little bit off to that side, and that's why the dial indicator is a little more accurate than just doing this by this. You don't know this is set at the factory, and I don't know if anybody disturbed it in the years before I had the bike, and I don't know to be honest, I don't know the history of this. So once I have the dial indicator telling me I'm exactly where it should be, that's going to tell me exactly where the timing is. And then when I check it with the timing light, it should line up exactly perfect. And once we do this whole thing, of course, then we got to do the other cylinder. So it'll be a little bit involved, a little bit time consuming, but in the end, we're buying that. It's probably off by, I'm going to guess, 10 thousandths. It's still within the window, the range that window is, but to get it as accurate as possible, it's just going to take a lot of fiddling, and the dial indicator doesn't lie. Now, some models of the RD do 2 millimeters, some do 1.8. This particular model that I have the manual for is 2.3 or 90 thousandths. Now, the bottom line in doing this really is time consuming to get this really accurate, but in the end, it's really worth it. As we're going to find out the next time we take a test ride on the bike. Now, you could do this with a voltmeter, and I guess you could do it this way. The result is going to be the same either way. So, and then we're going to check it with a timing light, because now we'll have accurate timing marks. Boy, is that ever so close too. Now, of course, always good to verify all the specifications and everything with the little factory manual, and it's always good to have that book. There's no substitute for having that little factory manual, that's for sure. So I've got one cylinder done for now anyway, and I've got to go on a couple errands and have another cup of coffee and then come back here and do the other cylinder. Well, at least it stopped raining, but it's still a miserable day. Good day to get this RD precision tuned for competition. Always good coming home to the tree-lined streets of Rutherford. Well, it is always good being home, having all the errands done. And we have a couple more hours this afternoon. We can work on that RD. So back in the garage, I want to verify that I haven't, since I have moved the timing plate, I want to make sure I haven't disturbed, and more than likely I haven't, the 14 thousandths gap on both sides of the points. Now, this is basically just to verify that I've got to go real, there we go, right there, that I haven't disturbed this, even though I haven't loosened the screws, because every time you tinker with this, these things are in thousandths. It still feels good. Okay, now what we have done is establish exactly where the real timing marks are. We haven't done anything yet to check that the plugs are firing on those timing marks. So the next thing is, of course, take the dial indicator out, get our spark plug back in there, and check with the timing light to make sure we're right on the money, and I hope we are. What is enough smoke in this garage? I gotta let some of the smoke clear out. If it wasn't raining so much outside, everything would be a little bit more convenient, but I'd rather be in here on the rugs. But anyway, it does look like we were off just a little bit. I adjusted it. Actually, it was a little bit advanced by well, who knows how many thousandths, but it should be right on the money now. It should be as accurate as I can possibly make it. Now now it's just a question of resetting the idle, making sure these are equal, and hopefully it'll stop raining. I'm not sure you can see that on the video, but because Luciano and I put much more defined timing marks on there, it's pretty easy to see in real life. Now, I'm just thinking that might be the most accurate that bike has ever been since it's been new from the factory. But one of the things, anytime you move the idle one way or another, and what has happened here is it was a little bit too advanced, just a little bit, which would be a real problem if we were racing and so holding it wide open for 2 miles. That might be a problem. But anyway, I hope we have it right on the money now. I hope I've been able to pass on, even though I'm awkward at doing this. This is not my favorite thing in the world of motorcycles, is not doing electrical work. But anyway, we have a couple other little issues with the bike that we wanted to straighten out here. And if this doesn't work, if I'm not happy by the end of the summer with this, I know I'm going to go for the electronic ignition. Because I know, see, here's the problem that a lot of people don't understand about points. They will wear in time, maybe in 5,000, in 8,000, in 10,000. That will then change the timing again, and I'll have to repeat this over and over again. Once you put the electronic ignition in, you're done for life. So you basically then have a modern bike. Any of these bikes they don't have points. They're a modern bike. I've been trying to keep this like an antique bike, but just basically to save some maintenance, maybe we'll be going for that conversion when the winter comes. That's probably as close as we're going to be able to get it until we actually go for a ride. So it looks like what we've been able to do is use up let's not forget to do that. It's amazing how many times you've come to a light and you go to hit the electric starter, no electric starter. You go to it's funny. It's not funny when it happens in traffic, but anyway, we did use this day, I think, very efficiently, and now we're going to wait for a usable test day and maybe ride with Luciano and let him get a ride on the bike and get his feedback on how this is all playing out. So I want to thank the COVID workers. Thank you guys, the healthcare workers. You can't say enough about them. And I hope you enjoy and picked up some information on the video, or you just enjoyed watching it or learning or whatever. Because I do enjoy making them. I do enjoy sharing them. I hope you enjoy watching them. Thanks for watching.